And there have always been people that have tried to follow these things, to have pride in themselves, to learn, to humble themselves and learn and follow through wisdom, through the cultivation of wisdom and how to appropriately do these things and learn these things. And there have always been people like that in every culture and religion and society around the world. And yet there have also always been people who don't like that is going on with other people, because it makes them uncontrollable. It makes them worthy foes. It makes them less dominatable. Welcome to Heart of the Lion. My name is Anthony Strongheart. We must take pride in what we are. We are part of life. We are an expression of God. God is expressing through us. It is important to conduct ourselves with pride. The way that we dress ourselves, the way that we comb our hair, the way that we take care of our teeth, the way that we take care of our lungs and our heart, the way that we hunt, that we gather resources, money, and so that we may eat the foods of this earth, the precious, precious, beautiful foods of this earth. We eat these things, we take these nutrients in, and we need to take pride in that which we put in our bodies, and we need to take care of that. And it's hard to take care of something if you don't have pride in that something. If you don't believe that something is worth your time, your effort, your devotion, your sacrifice, your effort, if you don't believe something is worth being upheld, then how can you take care of it properly? You cannot. You cannot take care of properly what you don't believe deserves to be upheld. So we must believe in the deservability of our body, of our mind, of our soul, so that we may feed it the nutrition that is worthy of upholding it in a powerful and sustained and exuberant way. We must take care of things in this life, and the only way to take care of them with the fervor that they deserve, with the effort that they deserve, is to have pride in them. So we must take pride. But if all you have in this life is only pride, there is no vision of God, there is no vision of yourself, there is no vision of humanity, of the Mother Earth, of the Father Sky, of God eternal, of society, of culture, of tribe, of family, that you can't see something beyond only your existence. And all you have is pride to bring to bear in all these situations. Well then, yes, pride is a huge downfall. You could be morally, spiritually, psychologically, logically, intellectually bankrupt if pride is the only thing you bring to bear, and you have to use it for every situation that arises, because there are plenty of situations that require humility. Humility is the apparatus by which we allow new knowledge, new information, new learning, new wisdom, new understanding. That humility is a basis from which we can allow other things in our life to lead, whether that's just a team leader or God itself. We must be able to allow others to lead. Part of life is to lead, and part of life is to be led. Both things are important for a healthy life where we're able to move with grace. And so we have to allow others to lead, and that can only happen through humility. And so we must be able to employ humility. But there are many out there which would drive us towards humility in situations where they seek to dominate us not for our embetterment or for the tribe's embetterment, but strictly just to dominate us or to benefit themselves. And this is a tactic used by all religions and all cultures and all peoples of every kind of gender and race and skin color. Every kind of person in the universe knows how to use humility to dominate other people. Tell other people, be humble so that I can dominate you, is what they're really saying. And so if you don't know how to see these things, you can use humility in a way that is counterproductive to your manifestation of all that you can be and all that God has destined you to be. And so you can sacrifice that to something else that doesn't have your best interest at heart, that isn't trying to uplift you, that is actually trying to dominate and enslave you. And so humility needs to be used in the proper way. And there are many who will try to convince you that the proper way is their way, and it's really only about dominating you. And it is up to us to become wise enough to know when that process is taking place. And the same is true for pride. It is very important to be able to have pride in yourself, to take care of the things that you need to take care of in a prideful way. It is a beautiful thing to be handed the gifts of life, the gifts of this body and this soul, and the many gifts that the life gives, of family, relationships, children, success, leadership roles, and to take pride in those things is to give yourself the psychological means and fuel to be able to give the care that is needed for those things. However, there are many that would try to convince you to take more pride than is due, or to take pride in things where pride is not the important thing to take. And the reason they do that is so that you'll be easily manipulated. And then those who only have pride, you're just standing on one stilt and you easily fall. So those who are only carried by pride can fall very easily. And those who are only humble can be walked over so easily. And so both of these things are important, but it is important to be wise enough to know where and when it is appropriate to be prideful, to be humble, and when a charlatan is trying to take advantage of you. And so there is nothing wrong with pride. Pride and humility are both tools that can be used properly, and they're not to be shunned or shied away from. I think a lot of what's talked about in religions as sin is really a lay version for people who don't want to think too much, and it's a tactic to only lay out this superficial groundwork to keep people below a certain level of thinking. And really, the truth of the matter is deeper into the heart of things. And a lot of religions don't want to go into that deeper in the heart of things. It's very similar to the woke, atheistic kind of ideas, where they also only go to a certain level. That when they say racism, or they say sexism, or they say misogyny, or what are the other things that they say in atheistic culture? So believe the science. We don't even know how consciousness arises of its own accord. We don't even understand that scientifically. And yet these people will say, well, there's nothing outside of what science can explain. But science has only gone so far. But they don't want you to get into the minutia of that. Just like the religious people don't want you to get into the minutia around sin. They They want to keep you below this certain threshold of thinking, because right there below that threshold, you are manipulatable. And so that's what the whole world is trying to do. It is a tactic, and people of the same groups inflicted upon each other to keep the people in the group manipulatable by each other, right? And so it's a tactic that we humans use on each other, and that we perpetrate against our own tribes, our own communities, our own families even. We perpetrate this thing of like trying to keep everybody below a certain level of thinking so that I can control you. And it's all these control mechanisms. And as a person that is seeking your successful manifestation of your destiny, of all that you were meant to be and all that you can be, that to strive for this level of becoming and taking full advantage of this life that was given to us by God Creator, to have so much pride in the fact that God created us, and to have so much humility as to fully receive the gift of life by cherishing it. Then in that way, we have to learn to throw the shackles of this manipulative tactic off and free ourselves and become who we're truly meant to be. This is our destiny, to be the magnificent creations of God, eternal being in all its glory. And so much of culture is about trapping us. But throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not the answer, because there is so much inside of human culture that is also showing us the way. Because there have always been humans who seek to bring out the fullness of God's creation and have that curiosity, that humility to learn from Spirit and God itself, from life itself, from the successful that really are successful, not just protest as much. And there has always been people who have taken pride in the precious gift of life and upheld themselves to a higher standard than maybe those around, to live up to the standard that God believes in us so much, and to take pride in that thing, to take pride in that wonderful fact that God has blessed us with this life and this precious body, and to uplift it the way that God has uplifted it. The miracle that in all the cosmos, a million things could have occurred, and the fact that we have come into life, our consciousness has come into life, not because of some culture or anything else, but because God itself deemed that consciousness ought be alive, and the thoughts that we have that fire in our own brains. And there have always been people that have tried to follow these things, to have pride in themselves, to learn, to humble themselves and learn and follow through wisdom, through the cultivation of wisdom, and how to appropriately do these things and learn these things. And there have always been people like that in every culture and religion and society around the world. And yet there have also always been people who don't like that is going on with other people, because it makes them uncontrollable. It makes them worthy foes. It makes them less dominatable. And that can't be had, because if you have people that you cannot control, then it's harder to get your will to happen across the culture and across the people. And so there have always been people in every religion, in every tradition, in every culture, in every society that seek to dumb these things down and make them more simple and make people believe in, what do you call them? These more hardline definitions, these more monolithic interpretations, so that the people will be manipulatable and controllable psychologically and intellectually. And so, and the truth is, usually more people are on the side of going with the status quo and dominating through manipulation in that way. It's a quicker tactic. And the idea of being prideful in the right ways, guided through wisdom and spirit and self-mastery, and being humble in the right ways, guided through wisdom and self-mastery, these things take a longer time to develop. They don't have as such quick return on investment, but over the long term, they return greatly on investment. And so most people are looking for the quick fix. It's understandable. It takes longer time to develop the taste for wisdom. It takes life to happen, and most people aren't waiting for that life to happen, and that's understandable. So this is something that happens all around the world, through every culture and every religion, and if we want to become all that we're meant to be, all that God has destined us to be, then we must learn to see these trappings, see these tactics, and learn how to maneuver around them and throw off these trappings, so that we can be free people, so that we can be the free people of God, eternal being, that we were always meant to be. But it takes courage, it takes wisdom, it takes time, it takes devotion. This is what I have for you today. May all of you be blessed. God bless you all. God bless us all. Thank you, Creator God, for this beautiful vessel, for this beautiful life, for this truth inside our hearts, for this vessel, this body, this soul, this life, that we may take pride in it, and that we may be humble to follow the guidance of Creator God, of Spirit, of this Mother Earth and this Father Sky, and all the beautiful ways that we can carry on in this world. See you all in the next one. Thanks for tuning in to Anthony Strongheart's Heart of a Lion.